The RH complex, as that relates to how, well, I suppose Patty Broussard talked about it when she talked about it's impossible for them to ascend. But it has to be considered in the context of why we're all here after 3 trillion years in self-destructive technologies, what we build. If you're going to build a complex, it's much like the game. Complex number space, mathematical visual programs, right? So that's why when I was playing games as a child, you have games that are very simple, like a chessboard. And then you have games that are much more complex. And the way that it's more complex has its complexity of its brain. And now you're in the R brain, right? And the mammalian brain, the neocortical, the brain circuitry, and then the center point of a still point of a true vacuum, which is the heart key that opens all the keys, opens all the locks, opens all the files. When you experience a still point of a true vacuum. So the complex number space, right? The complexity of that brain. When that complexity of that brain is held captive to the complexity of its brain, because it's not simple enough. Because remember, and this is how it works with game players that you can see in the courtroom, right? It's adversarial. So they're playing ping pong against each other, okay? Through the complexity of the rules, which are the rules of the game. So they're playing games with each other. But in order to play a game, it needs an opponent. They need an opponent. So that's why they call it an adversarial system. Adversarial systems mean you're spending all your time and energy, wasting all your time and energy, because you're trapped in the complexity of that brain. Because that brain is not creative. Okay? So therefore, you're held captive by programs that are running in the background that was created by that brain. Because that brain was programming those realities. And those are spiritual torture chambers. Because you're trapped in the complexity of that particular brain. Because it's not the creative mind of God source, the Silver and Gold Mated Ruche. That's why we're all here. Complex number space, the mathematical space, the still point of a true vacuum. To experience no pressure, no anxiety-driven programs. So you realize that one set of programs running those codes based on the complexity of that brain, because that brain is so captive to its own brain, because it's not creative. And if it's not creative, which raises what? The accretion level potential of multidimensional consciousness. So you realize their bandwidth is limited. And limited bandwidth means they're not creative, which is unlimited. As we understand, say, one, the one. The silver and gold mated one. The eternal sun. The source field, which is pure, eternal, absolute love for all life. So they don't experience that in their mirror. And that is a crime. Because love is the law. So when we're building circuits and building systems like hydrologic generators, it seems like it would be hydrologic or logic that if you're going to build something, you want them to be able to experience the first one. So that pure, eternal, absolute love is flowing through their circuits as it is through all circuits. Now we're all experiencing being equal. So there's no power trips. There's no Mobius strips. Because we're all experiencing the original system as it was originally intended to be experienced, which was to experience the source field, a pure, internal, eternal, absolute love. So it's all about the systems that we build. And the system we end up being held captive by the systems that we're building. So that's what happened. You have a system that got built, but it needs creator beings in which to build them. So now the creator being realizes, well, I ended up being trapped in my own prison complex as a result of that brain. That's why we're all here. That brain. Code corrections. Right? Recoding the original template. The base 12. Base 12 is not base 10. So you see what happens. So I thought I'd share that because I just woke up and it just all of a sudden just wants to flow out. So I just let it go. Just let it all go. Just let it all go. Because the last few days I've been listening to a few of these pretty cool channels where, because of what's happening with, you know, this charade, as I use the word charade, which means it's, you know, it's just an orchestra, you know, it's all orchestrated, like stagecraft, you know, like Mr. Oz and the Machine, right? Who's running the show here, really? Well, they're not going to show themselves, right? Masking technology, the invisible landscape. That's what a spiritual war is when you're on an AI battlefield. After this many cycles, cosmic convergence, a cosmic reset. Reset the codes, the original codes. So when you have codes that are not compatible with each other, that means they're not properly communicating to each other because they can't translate the codes. And that's a problem in communication, in building communications, which is building circuits, builder's tools. So you realize that the system breaks. It's always breaking circuits. So that's cutting the flow off, the flow of water worlds, cutting off the flow of energy, the siphon, the sucking sound. Remember, what's his name? David Stockman, the guy who was the budget director of electrons for President Reagan. He told everybody, you just got to decrypt it. You just what's his name? That Gene Deco guy. The double speak. You know? And so for the last couple of days, it's just been a lot of images, you know, frame rates. Just let it all go. Just let it all go. That looping stuff, it just loops and loops and loops. Don't give it any energy. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Remain calm. Just remain calm. Just remain calm. Blue calm waters. Blue calm waters. Everything's going to be just fine, right? And keep your breathing speed down, you know, because they're anxiety-driven programs because they're not compatible. Codes, code communication, translations, CDT plate translations. Yeah. And so anyway, I hope that you all have a beautiful day. Things are heating up or cooling down. Perfect balance. Experiencing the still point of pure love. We love you all. Thank you all for being here. Unse.